What is happening out there, people? How's it going? It's Press Play again. And we are here to discuss another episode of The Bad Batchy, as Matthew would say. Because we're a big old bad batch ourselves. We're here. We need to talk about it. I'm really excited about this episode. But before we do that...
I missed you.
Dude,
I just have to admit it. I missed you, Joe.
Do you like how you can tell when I'm introing us into this that it's just literally the first thoughts that are coming to my head? That's exactly what
it's like bad batch.
saying.
Bad batchy.
We are a bad batch, yeah. But before that, Omar's back with us. We've missed the boy terribly. But we got him.
Dearly.
We got Matthew. We got Bailey. That's us. We're Press Play again. How's it going? What's happening? I know. Guys, y'all match, and it's really cute.
Wait,
hey, we do.
Look
at that.
Y'all both have like this peachy pink color going,
dude,
and I really dig it.
That's really
it
awesome.
matches my freaking walls. These Pepto-Bismol pink walls. Wow. Cool. How's everyone going?
I'm going great.
Yeah, going really.
Yeah,
all right.
Going, I can't stop going, honestly.
All right, we might as well. Before we even get into this episode, before we do all that, I'm just going to tell everybody what they can do and where they can follow us and find us and all that shit. Because if I just stay like this, we're going to be talking about nonsense for the next, 30 minutes.
Hey, that's cool with me.
If you want to listen to us on anything other than YouTube, you can. And you can find us on Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Apple Podcasts. Listen to us just on one of those things. Rate us, subscribe to us, like us, leave comments. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you feel about the stuff we're discussing. Tell us stuff we haven't talked about. We'd love to hear it from you, and we'll communicate back in some form. Maybe, I don't know, we'll give you a call. I don't know.
We have that power.
And we'll be here throwing it to you, Matthew. What day we posting?
Bad Batch episodes, Monday mornings. Everything else is just fucking surprises.
Surprise.
Little surprise. And you know what? People count your surprises. Just enjoy them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So we'll be coming at you hot Monday mornings because we like to give you the weekend to watch everything you need to watch, and then we're going to discuss it. So that's what we're going to be doing now. But other than that, I think I've hit everything other than... Also, you can find us on social media, and that would be, again, Press on Twitter and Press Play again on Instagram. And we post fun things, and you guys will like it a lot, so go follow us. But other than that, let's talk about this damn show. Guys.
This fucking show.
What did you think about the third episode? I'm going to start with you, Omar. Oh, look at my dog. She's blind.
Gracie.
She's so old. I love her to death.
Gracie, we're over here.
She literally has no clue. She has no clue where she is.
Oh, she's so cute, man. It's like she hears you. She knows you're in the room.
Hi, girl. She's the best, but she just is so blind.
She's the best. She just can't. She doesn't know.
My poor baby. Anyway, what did you think of the episode, Omar?
Compared to the first two, honestly, because I have no idea what you guys... Well, I kind of do know what you guys thought about because I listened to the episodes, but I'm very curious to see what you guys thought about the third. Anyways, for the third episode, really liked it. I thought... not that it was more emotional or anything, but I found it more emotional. I found some scenes like, dude, Wrecker... Mm-hmm. As tough and huge as he is, he's a soft guy, man.
He's a sweetheart, man.
I love it. I know.
Yeah, so I love those moments. It definitely feels like, I mean, I think it's the only thing besides the Mandalorian that's like obviously not Skywalker focused. And I like that because it's a change of scenery. It's cool, and it's really exciting. I enjoyed the third episode. I think what's his face, Crosshair is a
Crosshair.
Excuse my French. A cunt.
Whoa!
Let's get into that then.
We're diving in. This isn't a kids show anymore, guys.
This isn't a kids show. This isn't a podcast. This is a.
Thoughts.
Let's get into Omar's.
I appreciate how intense you just made this. What do you think, Matthew?
Yeah, I love this episode. I'm not sure if I'm there yet with Crosshair. I'm not gonna say full on yet. But no, this is a great episode. I think I like this more than last week's. First episode was obviously still kind of the biggest, that movie like thing. But yeah, I thought we got a lot of cool stuff in this one. I like that we got Tarkin again. We kind of furthered the story that it seems like this is going to revolve around. Like we're getting more into why they're going to switch to, like actual human troopers instead of clones, and it's all making sense. Yeah, I thought it was really, really good. I also thought this episode looked better than last week's, like visually, which was kind of surprising because last week's I thought
it was beautiful.
Yeah, like, and like we said from the get-go, somehow this animation style is now really, really good, which is awesome because I'm glad that it is. But this episode like really shocked me. I was like, the lighting, all the like focusing and stuff they do in depth of field, like it all looked really, really good in this episode.
It did.
So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it with you guys, but I loved it.
Hell yeah. Real quick, I'll say I agree. I think this episode was gorgeous. I think the music was amazing. It also, though, does the thing where while I'm watching it, I'm like, man, if they just, I don't know, would have done this with Clone Wars from the beginning, I would have been just so happy.
Like animation-wise or...
Animation-wise,
Okay,
yeah. I just wish.
Okay.
But either way, I mean, y'all know me. I love Clone Wars. Don't get me wrong. But I just was like, man, it would have been so cool. But yeah, I loved this episode. I thought it was phenomenal. I think it might be my favorite episode so far.
I think so too, to be honest.
If I'm being honest.
I think so too.
It was just, there was no low points in it for me. So that's how I feel about it. I know Matthew has a few... I think you have some Easter egg facts to throw
I did.
out
I look
there.
up some just connections to other stuff going on in Star Wars. So first off, and a lot of it for this episode, there wasn't really a ton going on. But definitely the kind of like desolate moon landing is all like a reference back to Empire Strikes Back, of course, when they they think they're going on the moon and they end up in the belly of whatever that worm creature is. That's so awesome. And that like played out very similarly too, if you remember, because even like
because
they're like outside fixing the ship and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like the exact same thing. So I thought that was really cool. Also, the new human troopers, like the elite squad of humans that are there now, very clearly, I think must be like to hint at becoming death troopers, right? Like they
I saw the black suits and I assumed it was
the black
hinting at
suits.
death
They also
troopers.
have kind of like the green visors, which like the death troopers had the like green lenses too. So I think that's what they're getting at with that. Is this is like early death trooper stuff, which is really cool.
Gotta black out the sun. Because you're in space.
Let's see. Oh, okay. So they reference War Mantle, right? Like War Mantle being this like operation now to actually switch the like instead of using the clone army, like transition it into the human soldiers, and that was actually referenced in Rogue One. Mr. Gary Wood is Rogue One. When Jyn Erso is like looking through all the plans at I think it's towards the end, right? When she's like trying to find the Death Star plans, like there's other stuff in there, and that War Mantle is in there too, and that's just very interesting because
cool.
it's just tying everything back together. That's really kind of the most interesting ones I have here. A little side note: the Imperial troopers are their blaster fire is red now instead of blue. Kind of showing the transition now because it's
evilness.
Yeah, like getting into Empire stuff. And obviously the whole good soldiers follow orders. That was a callback to the first time we ever heard that was, what was it? Like season 5, whatever the inhibitor chip arc.
Yeah,
in
it's
Clone
whenever
Wars.
it's whenever the stuff with fives happens.
Yes. When we
where,
kind of learned more
one
about
of them's malfunctioning.
Yeah, when we learned about the inhibitor chips. And so that was just cool, you know.
I also want to throw out there too, just before while we're diving into this episode, because it's in the very beginning. So like in the very beginning, when you see Omega laying on one of the droids, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the name. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm this Star Wars person and I know every droid's name. I wish I did. I can't remember them all. But it's the Gonk droid, the like really square box one.
Yeah, the trash can looking ones.
Yeah, they have them like in New Hope and stuff, but like the way they walk, I think it's so funny. I think it's like the cutest thing, and I'm really glad that they had that droid in one of the other episodes, and now it's like in it again, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like a reoccurring like pet kind of thing, and I really hope it does because I think it's really cute. But other than that, yeah, let's talk about the damn show. So
let's get into it.
I wanted to point out that the way this show introed the non-clone stormtroopers was way cooler than I was expecting it to be.
They all were, they kind of made these guys like very, like the voice acting first off was really good. Like it was like noticeably good. where I was like, these
Oh,
characters
yeah.
like they're actually like pretty dark and yeah, I liked all that.
The main dude sounded familiar. I'm a bad host, so I didn't look it up. But there was something about his voice, and I was like, man, this dude sounds really familiar to me. I'm not gonna look it up either, so y'all can all just tell me who it is. But which
not doing
I didn't even say, but episode 3, it's called, the title's Replacements.
Yeah.
And like, what a cool title too. Like, you finally get introduced. Like, I didn't even think about it until the second time I watched it before we started doing this podcast. But Replacements just being, because it's literally like showing the new team of stormtroopers. I just, oh man, Dave Filoni. This
You're a
should
cool
just
guy.
be a Dave Filoni fanboy podcast kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd be down.
But yeah, I thought the way they introed him was really cool, and I thought like Crosshair kind of leading the charge was also kind of not unexpected, but it was one of those things where you can't tell what they're gonna do with Crosshair yet, because Tarkin still very much doesn't like.
I want to
clones.
rescind my comment about him.
Oh yeah.
What I said. Okay, here's the thing, because I think we were talking about this in another group with our friend Tyler, and I said something along the lines of Crosshair was my favorite when they were introduced.
Yeah, last go round.
Yeah, and then this shit's happening. He's killing fucking randos, right? Random people. I understand malfunctioning, whatever, Order 60, whatever, 66. I get it. I understand. But like, don't be a cunt about it. Like
It's his inhibitor chip,
relax,
man.
I don't give a shit.
Hunter
bro.
says it, he's like,
But
I
they
don't know.
upped it. The first
Relax.
episode, they
I know.
amp it up. They're like,
do-
we're gonna make him the
I know. Okay.
biggest of the C
All just
words.
getting
I
super
was gonna
inhibited.
say it. I can't.
As a fan, I do love that, because obviously there's gonna be some sort of redemption. It's some sort of like he's gonna go back to the group. So I do love that they're taking it on the other side of things, like completely the opposite, where he's killing whatever.
Yeah.
He's not part of the group. He's against the group. He's like fucking hard scoping them, whatever. I get that, and I do enjoy it. But I do like the moment in episode 3 where Omega's holding, I think, his weapon or something, and they're like, okay, like, I'll be honest, like, I have to admit, like, we
miss him.
it was a nice moment.
Well,
Yeah.
and
I
like,
that.
it was so nice to see that, but you're completely right in the sense that like, he's so far past what you usually see with clones. Like, you see
Right.
clones being intense in a military sense and fashion, but now you see it in an evil way.
Yeah.
And seeing him just like attack that village and have absolutely no remorse,
That shit got
completely ready to
dark.
kill who.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
like
love that.
he
Yeah.
literally, the second people just start saying they're not going to tell him anything, he doesn't like hesitate. He completely just
He's
kills
like, you're
them.
you're useless.
Yeah,
He's like,
and
you're of no use to the Empire.
right,
Yeah,
and I
right.
thought that was so cool. And then they cool but awful. But
Bailey's
still
into
cool.
that.
You're hard.
You know me, I'm always going to
Number
be
one,
into the villains.
number one Empire fan up here. She's loving seeing the seeds.
What up? But it's one of those things too where they show him he kills the main dude who you think is gonna like overthrow him.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. But he just shoots him dead. So the rest of his team all kind of panic and freak out because they're like, we don't want to die. So he gets them to literally set them all on fire, which completely brings me back to the scene with Finn from I'm blanking.
The Force
I
Awakens.
blanked.
Force
The
Last
Force
Jedi.
Awakens, thank you. I kept wanting to say The Last Jedi,
Disney.
but I knew it was Force Awakens. But that scene in the beginning where like he can't kill anybody because he's
Yeah,
like, what the
yeah.
hell are we doing? And that scene reminded me a lot
That's
of
exactly
it.
what I thought.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like the beginning of it instead of the end of it.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool way to see that. But yeah, so going from that and then going to the scene where they get back to the ship and he's pretty much telling Tarkin like, I got shit done. Everything's okay. I'm the best thing in this world. And I'm like, you're right, Crosshair, you are. And then you have that scene where he goes back into the room that his crew used to be in, and you see like the marks on the wall that the
Yeah.
Bad Batch always did. And then he goes and sits on his bed, and the music that's playing while he does it, and then how it like kind of slowly closes in on his face. It's just like so haunting and beautiful, and you don't expect things like that from Clone Wars.
This
Well, you
shows-
do now, but you wouldn't have when you
Well,
first started that show.
This show can do so much more now than Clone Wars could because,
Oh, of course.
like, going back to the animation though, like they learned how to actually make their faces like emote and have expressions.
Right.
Like they had that in I guess season 7 and some of the other ones they got better over it gradually, but in this, like some of it looks really, really good, and so they can finally show like those little details like that, like showing
With the lighting
Crosshair
and everything too.
Yeah, like having him have a moment like that to himself, and you can just kind of see in his face his, missing his crew and stuff, despite everything that's kind of going on in his head with this inhibitor chip. In a way that they couldn't have done that before. They would have had to have some overly explaining thing where he would probably just stand up and look at himself in a mirror and be like, I kind of miss my friends. You know what I mean? But because the animation's so much better now, we can get those little moments with the characters that are really, really cool.
I also think it's one of those things too where the music has just been so phenomenal.
Dude, the music was
and
incredible in this
completely
episode.
blows me away to where when I'm watching these episodes, I'm kind of just in awe because I keep I just almost, I don't know, I don't give it enough credit because in my mind I'm like I just look at it as like the beginning of Clone Wars. It's supposed to just be a kind of a jokey show, but then stuff like this happens and you're like, oh my god, this is way more intense and has way more deeper meaning than I expect. And then the music is phenomenal, so you're just looking at this almost like it's a movie still.
Yeah.
Like the way. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say my problem with it. I think because I just watched like the end of season 6, and because I just binged the hell out of season 7. In my mind, I still like every time I'm watching an episode this week, last week, the week before. I still keep thinking it's an arc in Clone Wars, and it's so hard to like.
Oh, I get that.
Not think that.
Well, so I wanted to ask you guys, do you think we're gonna get the 3 episode arcs in the show? Like, there's so many. I mean, there's 16 episodes total. We just finished episode 3, but so far it's like we had the movie as a standalone, and then both of these episodes have been like single episodic.
Yeah.
Like, do y'all think we're gonna get into more like 3 episode arc territory like Clone Wars did a bunch of? Or are we going to keep getting these one-offs and then probably at some point a bigger type of thing?
I'm going to say this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think arcs worked well with Clone Wars. And I get that this is supposed to be its own thing, but it's still in the same universe. So I wouldn't be opposed to arcs. But obviously, if they do like an arc here and there and the like if it's its own thing and they throw arcs in however they want, I'm also fine with that. So
I agree because I think it's one of those things where in Clone Wars you had so many different characters and so many different beloved known characters that you had to focus a specific amount of time on storylines with them to kind of build them up and grow them. But for this is brand new characters. Like this is people we don't really know. We kind of know from Clone Wars, but now we're just getting them. Like, we already know Tarkin. They're not going to... I think everything we're seeing with Tarkin is all we're really going to see with Tarkin. Other than that, we're just going to be getting cameos from Clone Wars or The Bad Batch. So, I kind of agree. I think it might be... Each episode or 1 or 2 episodes are connected, but they're all just slightly connected, but going through these different adventures on the way to the bigger picture. And then you're going to have, like, 4 or 5 episodes that are... developing the story more.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I think this is going to go, which I kind of almost hope it goes that way because I think it would be really good if it does.
I missed the 3 episode arcs for sure, but so far everything's worked, so I'm not against it.
Exactly.
But I do hope because of how long the show is, like 16 episodes is a long thing, I hope that eventually we get into more like stretched out things where it's not just like new planet every week doing something new. But so far it's worked, so
what did y'all think this episode about all the stuff with Omega? I'm just curious.
I like Omega for the sole reason of I think she complements the group well. And I think she complements the vibe of what the show's going for, at least what I think. I mean, we're only on episode 3. So I definitely like it. And I mean, with her, she could really take any route. I mean, I have no idea, how long they plan for this show to be. But I mean, she'd be one of the guys. She could at some point end up going... in the wrong direction and have a malfunction, as you guys like to call
malfunction.
I am known for saying that.
Yeah, so
malfunction.
I think it's so I think it's just interesting. I think she's an interesting character. She's a kid, so you always like have a lot that you can do. I mean, she's got her whole life ahead of her. So
she really does.
I'm excited. Yeah,
and she's got a brand new bedroom now.
Dude, amazing room, man.
Possibilities are endless.
Yeah, like in The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm like trying to look something up, but I can't
also I found out
it.
who voiced that guy that you're asking about. It's
who did it?
Keanu Reeves.
Wait, are you kidding?
absolutely joking. So sorry.
Oh my god! I was
just
like,
had
I
to do
knew
I
it.
just had to do it.
I
I was
knew
like,
it.
you suckers! I knew I could spot it. That's so sad.
Imagine, dude.
I did love, I still love, and I think some people aren't feeling it as much, at least from what I've read, but the dynamic between Hunter and Omega and really all of them, I think is the whole father-daughter aspect is really cute and it works really well. Like the stuff they had at the end with Wrecker, like making her bedroom,
Yeah,
like
I love that.
come on, that was like so
beautiful.
sweet, and it shows it still is doing the whole we're building these characters up so you don't look at them like clones anymore, which I feel like most people don't, but you still have to continue to do that and continue to convince people like, oh man, this isn't gonna, they're not gonna just turn on him, even though I do think they were talking to the dude. I'm like jumping all over the place. The dude who was talking to Tarkin, who's like introducing the new stormtroopers. First of all, I don't know if y'all remember this arc from Clone Wars, but Clovis, the like banking guy that was with Padme a lot, the dude looked exactly like Clovis. So when he walked up, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be like Clovis's son or something. But I think it's just some random dude.
It's probably for the best that it's not.
But right, but Clovis annoyed me, so I was just like, all right,
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. But when he walked up, he mentioned something about like the inhibitor chip scanner, as in they're gonna like scan to see. I don't know what it's gonna be or what it's gonna lead to. But they mentioned the inhibitor chip scanner, and it made me think like, is there a possibility that the Bad Batch's chips can still malfunction? Like when Wrecker's head was hurt in this episode, he said it like hurt because he thinks he hit it in the wreckage or whatever. But I'm wondering what if it's
That's
hurting
very
because
interesting. Yeah.
his chip is eventually gonna slightly malfunction to the point where, or not malfunction, but work
Like activate,
correctly.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Very
and they're kind of just like fighting it. So I'm like wondering if I might be reaching here, but I'm wondering if at any point in the episode we're going to see them kind of struggle with it, but somehow overcome it.
I would love that,
And then-
honestly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be
And then
really
it
fucking cool.
proves that this whole time, if like the clones were taught anyway, like how the Bad Batch was like taught to just do their own thing,
Yeah.
if clones were taught to not always follow orders, if they could have eventually like overcome this themselves.
Yeah.
I just think that's really cool. I'm wondering if that'll
like it.
happen.
I hope that
So
I know, Bailey, I know you said you don't think we're going to get like that. Did you say you don't think we're going to get that much more Tarkin, or just we're not going to get Tarkin doing anything else?
I don't think we're going to get him doing much other than trying to get rid of the clones.
And that's fine with me. I just hope that he kind of stays. I hope that
Yeah.
he's not passing the torch off to this new fucking guy, because
Me
he's
too.
not
That would
scary
be so
at all.
lame.
Like
He's not.
Just you already animated Tarkin. You already got the fucking character model and the voice. Just let him be the guy in this. Like we don't need him
I
to step
agree.
away and us to deal with this guy, because he doesn't scare me. He doesn't really seem that interesting. I don't know. I'd rather
reminds me
Tarkin
of,
stay in
like,
charge of this. It's also just cooler.
The guy. He reminds me of the guy like working for an office that's like gunning for the position that just opened up.
Yeah.
And so he's like
a Dwight
trying really, really hard. Yeah, exactly.
He is
So it's
like
not
Dwight.
intimidating.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping, I think Tarkin will be involved. I don't know. I guess we've only had 3 episodes. So
Man, you're having a night.
dude, I'm like all over the place tonight.
Um,
It's my dog. She's throwing me off. She's just behind me scratching everywhere. And I'm just like, okay. Hoping she's okay.
I like too the kind of little it looks like the direction that this is going in now is like when they're looking at the empty table and like we need them for phase 2, right? They're talking about the Bad Batch, obviously.
Yeah,
like they
exactly.
like the Camoans. I know I'm saying the name wrong.
Kaminoans.
Yes, there you go. The long neck aliens. They like their phase 2 now. I find that very interesting that they had a plan and that their plan now does involve like they're like, okay, well, we're gonna try to make updated clones based off the super clones we already have.
Yeah.
And
Omega.
Yeah.
We still don't really know exactly what she is.
We don't know what she
Which
is.
I love.
But having that, like, I think that's really cool because they're even like, we only need one of them. So I think that's going to be a very interesting thing going forward.
I know. I'm hoping. I love that this episode was way more focused. I mean, I guess it was evenly focused on both like Crosshair and the Bad Batch, but I think it was like the Crosshair stuff was really stand out for this because it was a lot of newer things. I still loved all the stuff with Hunter and Tech and all of them. I think it was interesting, but I'm hoping the next episode we get them like back in more action again because I love that. I love seeing them work as a team. So I think this was the really like they're trying to drive home this Hunter being a father figure thing, and I think it's working really well because the voice actor who does all of this is just
Dude, wait,
phenomenal.
I pulled him up because we need to shout out this fucking man, D. Bradley
everyone
Baker.
should.
He voices everybody in this
What a
show.
DB Baker, like
He
Come on,
voices
my
all
dude.
of these different clones. It's
incredible.
really crazy.
hooking up
It's
a whole
nuts.
freaking batch of cinnamon rolls. I don't know,
Wow.
because Baker.
Baker Bad Batch.
I just can tell when y'all completely fade out and y'all are like, we're not even gonna acknowledge.
No.
We don't know what to say. We don't want to step on the
Yeah.
beauty of the joke.
Either way, but I think this episode was phenomenal. That's what I'll
Agreed.
end this with. I think it's
Agreed.
great. So
Yeah, me too.
I'm really
I'm-
excited for where the show's heading.
Me too.
I just am excited to talk about it with you guys. I really am.
Absolutely.
Talking about Star Wars is like one of my favorite things, guys.
It really is. It just makes you feel good.
Makes
yeah,
you feel
I'm-
all warm inside, like a baker.
Do y'all think that like a baker? Y'all think the episodes are gonna keep being the 30-minute too?
I hope.
I think so. Maybe up until like the last one or two.
Yeah, I agree.
And then they'll get nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll go freaking crazy.
Do y'all
But-
think, like, this is just kind of like a more discussion type of question, but do y'all think that people are going to get a lot out of this show if they didn't watch Clone Wars? And even Rebel. I mean, let's be honest though, like all of us, we only watch
Yes,
Clone Wars,
I
but there's
do.
also
I do.
Rebels.
Yeah.
And I think people that watch
definitely
Rebels
do.
would say the same thing to us. They'd be like, you're missing half of this shit because you didn't watch Rebels. So
Right.
I kind of think, I think people can jump into Bad Batch without watching all these shows. I think if you like Star Wars, like that's the only thing. If you don't like Star Wars, you're
Oh, I
probably
think
not
they
gonna care,
definitely
but-
can watch it without watching those and then still like it. I just think, yeah, you will get a little bit more when you see all the cameos that are soon to come, I'm sure. I think it'll mean more for you, but this also has just been a really enjoyable show. And I think you do, though, have to know about Star Wars. Like, I do think
Well,
you
yeah.
need to know about that.
The thing is, I think there's
Unless you're a
Easter
kid.
eggs in there for like nerdy Star Wars fans, right? Nerdy Star
Right.
Wars fans. Whereas the Mandalorian, I think you definitely should like. The Mandalorian is not going to mean as much or resonate with you as much if you haven't seen the actual movies. Whereas this, you can watch it and not have as many questions because you wouldn't really know what questions or who's this or who's that.
Yeah.
Because so
That makes
far it's
sense.
kind of its own thing, and like you said, we haven't really gotten many cameos from like the Skywalker saga or anything like that. So I mean, yeah, I do feel like you can watch this without having watched Clone Wars, and
Yeah, I guess
enjoy it
you're
as
right.
much, but maybe just not for the same reasons.
Yeah.
You literally
Who-
just have to know the plot of why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to know that this army was created full of clones and now they are being taken over by an evil person and is getting rid of all of them.
And also, you just
That's
if,
like all you have to know.
if you've just ever been interested in like, hey, the clones in the prequels are obviously different than the stormtroopers in the like originals, and then what they
Yeah.
evolved into with the First Order. It's like, how did that happen? If you're just interested in that question, then like we finally have a show that's going to tell us that. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's why I think a lot of people get a lot of stuff out of this. Last thing I have though, what we keep talking about these cameos. Who do y'all got? Who's coming up? What's the biggest
see
cameo?
Rex soon.
Vader.
Yeah.
You think Vader?
I think-
I'm excited to see Vader. I don't think they're gonna do it until the end.
Probably.
Like the end of the show?
The end of the season, yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
But I don't care. I have to see Rex. Like, I have to see Rex and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like, at some point.
They all seem so
that's
easy
enough.
to do. It's like they
I
could have
think we-
anyone. We could see Obi-Wan. Like we
I was
might
gonna
as
say,
well.
I think we get the whole crew.
I think so too.
Obi-Wan, Yoda. I mean, I think we're gonna see all of them.
I
I'd
see.
love
I
it.
don't think we're gonna see Yoda for some reason, but mostly just because I think he went into hiding. So
But I'd love to know, you know what I mean? Because there's such a leap in Yoda from prequels to like
Yeah.
when we see him in Empire, like just
Right.
mentally, right? The dude's
oh
lost
yeah,
something.
yeah.
like,
Like, see the transition of that. That'd be cool. Actually,
I'd love to just, and this is the perfect way to do it. You don't have to build another puppet. You don't have to do all kinds of
Right.
crazy stuff. Like you just animate this shit and show it to us. I'd love it.
Yeah, I agree. What do you all? Okay, this is gonna be a stupid question, but I gotta ask it. What do you think the chances are that we see Jar Jar?
0. We're gonna go ahead and nail that one in. Is 0.
What about halfway through the season? They're like, we need a Goofy episode. What are we gonna do? Jar Jar, come swim on over. We're gonna get this figured out.
I don't think anyone wants to waste their time animating the character.
They don't.
Hey, he was a hoot and a half.
I
on
skipped
Clone Wars.
I skipped all the Jar Jar episodes in Clone Wars.
Some of them are pretty funny.
I know. I
Not
honestly,
really.
I
But
did it.
some of them, if you want to like Jar Jar, you like force yourself to like it.
Well, I'm gonna
so.
say too. I'm mostly
doable.
playing because I don't actually hate Jar Jar like a lot of. I mean, you know what I mean. He's whatever. But for
Yeah.
Clone
It's
Wars, I
just-
was just trying
yeah.
to get through it fast. I was following a guide. And Jar
Yeah,
Jar,
he
you know what? You
was.
didn't make the guide. You didn't make the cut. So
You're out of here.
you're done.
All right, guys. Well, I think we can about wrap this thing up. I'm really glad that I'm really glad this show has been as good as it's been so far. I'm
Me too.
super excited for it to continue. And you can find us talking about it again next Monday. Because we're gonna be back for episode 4. We're doing this throughout the whole thing, guys.
Love it.
I know you got to hear what we think about the show, so come listen.
And let us know what you thought in the comments.
Yeah, that
Anything
too.
interesting? Tell us fun facts. We will. We'll bring them up next week for sure.
For sure. But until then, guys, good soldiers follow orders.
Whoa.